How are you? Okay. Today I was thinking about doing an energetic trim just to remove any negativity that you may have accumulated over the weekend or throughout yesterday, whenever it came. Yeah. So, just relax. I'm going to spray you a little bit, and then I'm going to use the broom to bring everything towards me, and then I'm going to start the removal process, okay? It shouldn't take too long. Alright? Alright. So, sit back, relax, and let me take care of everything. Okay. To assist me in this process, I'm going to need you to take a few deep breaths, okay? Breathe in and breathe out. 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 Good. Okay. Now just relax. I'm just gonna get everything ready so we can start removing what's no longer needed. Okay? Alright. How am I doing, if you're wondering? I'm doing better. I'm doing a lot better. I'm just trying to adjust the way I think now. Trying to focus more on the positives to some degree, as best I can. But the good news is that the thing that was bothering me the most these last couple of weeks is going to get taken care of, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. So that's good news. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I was able to, I would say, stumble upon a solution to the problem. But I guess the real reason why I've been pretty down in the dumps, if I can iterate a little bit better, wasn't because of the love situation that kind of went. That wasn't really what it was, and also it wasn't really the money situation that, or I'd say it wasn't just the money situation that had me in that mood, but it was an accumulation of everything, plus the fact that in my heart I fought hard enough to not end up where I ended up. I did everything I could to try to avoid ending up where I ended up. And, you know, life did its thing, and here you are. But usually when those things happen, and I've been saying this for a while because it's true, these things tend to fix themselves. Whether you believe it or not, they always tend to fix themselves. Now, with that in mind, I should have this mentality of there should be no need to worry, but anxiety is not something that you can just tell it to stop, you know. You can't just tell your anxiety to keep quiet, because once it hits, it hits. But I've been trying to focus on the positives to make sure that I don't allow that one moment of tragedy to affect my whole week, my whole month, and sometimes even my whole year. Depends on the tragedy. Sometimes longer than that. I'm at a point in my life where, and I've come to embrace it, I guess. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea where I'm at. I have no idea where I'm going. And I have no idea what's gonna happen next. And maybe that's for the best. Maybe that's for the best that I don't know everything. Maybe it's for the best that I let the universe handle pretty much everything, because that's what it's been doing so far, you know. I found myself in ruts I didn't think I'd get out of, and well, I got out. And that's not just the recent rut, it's been ruts throughout the years. There's stories I can tell you guys that I won't tell right now, because it's just too long. That'll make you be like, how did you get out of that one? So I'm taking the approach of just like, why worry when everything's just going to take care of itself? And I know that sounds pretty, like nonchalant, a very nonchalant approach to life. Like, so what are you going to do? Nothing? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm starting to embrace that I don't know all the answers to everything, even though I feel like at this age of 28 that I should, if not all the answers, have a good bit to where I can make sound decisions. But this time, not all elements are revealed to me or have been revealed to me, so I don't know what to do in this case. But those things tend to get revealed eventually, so it's nothing to really worry about. I just wish I didn't worry too much sometimes. I wish I had my brother's sort of temperament. My brother doesn't worry about anything. I mean, he's a full-fledged Scorpio. He has a Scorpio sun, moon, Venus, I think Mercury. He's a full-fledged Scorpio, and if he does worry about things, he doesn't let me know about it. I wish I had that temperament where even if I was worried about things, you couldn't see it in my face, but when you're a Sagittarius, and being overly dramatic is the name of the game, well, you get what you get. And I'm very self-aware, people. Like, I'm not one of those people who don't acknowledge their flaws and when they're wrong. I can acknowledge when I was wrong. But I think my real issue is that I'm so used to doing things myself. I'm so used to using my hands to take care of everything, that to put my hands into something else is just, will put my issues into someone else's hands or something else's hands. It just seems kind of illogical. And I don't want to go through the whole speech of like, I put my trust in somebody once and they broke my trust. Yeah, that's, at this point, like, that's pretty much the human cognoscenti. And it's not like it's a, it's not that they're bad people when they do that. It's just, probably they just had other agendas or something more important to them, or something that's important to them, let's say that. Urged them to take the action they took, regardless if it was good or not. They thought it was the best action to take at the time. So, the concept of like using that as an excuse these days now, because I use that as an excuse. It's just like, I've got burned before, what's to say I won't get burned again? And at this point, it's just like, well, the universe and my guides never allow me to sit in a place too long where I'm going to get burned to a point, to a crisp. I might get a few scabs here and there, a few cuts, a few bruises, but it's never to a point of extreme. So, to be worried about somebody betraying me again at this point, it is what it is. But we all have to deal with our consequences, whether it's good or bad. So, and sometimes you also have to look at the intentions of the person. And so let me explain this, because in these terms, to where it makes sense. For me, the best way to learn about life, and I think I've heard this in a film, but the best way to learn about life is to watch movies. And the reason is not like all not fictional movies, but non-fiction movies, any sort of movie, any movie I feel that's done right has a message in it. And so yesterday I watched a childhood favorite of mine, Labyrinth and the Goblin King. I love David Bowie in that film. I love all the songs in that film. Like, it's one of my favorite films since I was a kid. And there's this character, for those who haven't seen it, named Hoggle. And Hoggle is like this little troll mixture of a human being, I don't know, but he's a character in this labyrinth created by the Goblin King. And throughout the movie, he consistently betrays Sarah. He consistently tries to either lead her back to the beginning or just at some point knock her out. Not physically, but he gave her a fruit to eat, and the whole Sleeping Beauty situation. Again, spoiler if you haven't seen this, but this has been out since the 80s, so I don't know if that's much of a spoiler alert at this point. But anyways, when watching the film, especially when for the first time, your take on Hoggle is like, what an a-hole. Like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you keep doing this to hurt her? But if you see the position he's in, his back is against the wall when he makes those decisions, meaning the Goblin King, which is David Bowie, he doesn't give him much of a choice. It's like, if you don't do this, I'll send you to the eternal bog of stench, where you'll smell like whatever for the rest of your life. And so he even admits that he's a coward, and that he's afraid of everything, and he doesn't want to be in the situation. But at the end, he comes through, and he ends up saving he saves them from this gigantic, like, a mech, whatever this thing is. And he redeems himself. And so the point of that story, even if it's just like, why are you telling me this, Tyler, is that when people tend to betray us or do stuff against what we feel is, for us, they do something against us, I guess. The reasons may not be known at the time, but their backs could have been against the wall at the time when they made that decision. They could have been in a position in life where they felt that that was the only choice to make at the present time. And it may not have been a personal thing that they did. The move they made may have not been personal to hurt you specifically, but in turn, it did end up hurting, you or the people around them. It doesn't mean they're bad people. No, it just means their back was against the wall. And so, watching that film, it made me realize that a lot of people who have so, quote unquote, betrayed me or kind of turned their backs on me, it wasn't because they had anything against me or I did something wrong, or even if for the viewer watching, it's not because you did something wrong or because the person that did it had something against you, but in some way or form, and I'm just saying possible, and there's other reasons why people betray other people, but I'm just kind of giving another perspective that could be a part of the whole thing, if that makes sense. Sometimes they didn't have a choice. Sometimes they didn't see any other choices when they made it, so they made that choice. And so I guess in a way they did their best for what they had, and sometimes for us the best wasn't good enough, but for them it was what they thought was the best move. And so she obviously ends up forgiving the guy, and I guess that poses a lesson for us to forgive these people, because you never know what situation you might find yourself in the future where you're going to have to do something against another person because of a certain situation, and it may not be something that is entirely your fault. It may not be something that you put yourself in, but it's just manifested that way, Not sort of a gun to your head sort of situation, but you know what I'm saying. Like, people make dumb decisions every day. make smart decisions every day. But some of those decisions come from the concept of I'm doing the best with what I have, and that's it. So, I guess the message here in this reading, while we did this energetic cleanse, is that forgiveness happens when we're able to look at the other person and kind of see ourselves in their position and understand why they made the decisions they made, rather than deeming them a terrible, evil person. Kind of look at it as if, what if you were in their shoes, suffering what they were suffering? Would you have made the same decision or a different one? And if it's a different one, then fine, but you don't know what circumstances they may have been dealing with at the time for them to make that decision. But anyways, let's close out this session. Everything looks clean. Everything looks nice. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you for joining me today. I hope I was able to help cleanse all that negativity and also provide a certain perspective that may help you in the future or now whenever you're watching this. But anyways, have a good night, take care, and I'll see you again soon.